Hey, all my Taurus friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about Gemini's retrograde in your second house of Gemini. This is happening October 9th, 2024 through February 4th, 2025. It's a fairly significant retrograde because we're going to experience our second Saturn and Jupiter square. The first was in August 19th, when Jupiter was at 17 degrees direct and Saturn was retrograde at 17 degrees of Pisces. Pisces is your 11th house of the 11th house rules our hopes and our dreams. It rules our friendships, our social groups on the internet. It rules the future. It rules innovation. It rules possibilities, I mean, in a bigger picture. On a mundane level, the 11th house rules lightning, it rules aviation, it rules rockets in flight, space, science, the cosmic consciousness. So this is very powerful energy as Saturn transits through that house. Now we're seeing Jupiter in your second house of possessions, of money, of your self-worth, of the way that your family framed your sense of confidence with your skills and your ability to make resources. So all of this is kind of going to come up for review, for reevaluation, and even in some ways, maybe just to rest so that you can connect with God and the angels. Jupiter rules that connection. It rules religion. So this is going to be a very powerful retrograde. We will see that on the 24th on Christmas Eve, Jupiter will be in an exact square. This time Jupiter will be retrograde and Saturn will be moving forward at 14 degrees of Pisces. Jupiter again is in Gemini. This is going to, the effects of this will be felt until third week of January, because I'm giving it about a 5-degree orb, plus we're going to feel it ramping up. So what we've experienced now is on a world stage, the United States election will have taken place in November. And when Jupiter squares Saturn, I think we're going to see things on the world stage regarding that as well. Jupiter rules the judicial system, Saturn rules government. And those two things will trickle down into our own personal lives. Gemini by nature is the sign of communications, the media, journalism, how we think, how we speak. So we're layering your second house, which is normally Taurus, the house of possessions, the house of self-worth, with the house of my mind. So a lot will come up about your ideologies, your philosophies, how you feel about that. We'll see in early December, Saturn will station direct at 12 degrees of Pisces. And this is going to make the square between Saturn and Jupiter will feel even more powerful when Saturn stations direct, because Saturn will be basically standing in the sky for history, standing in the sky for tradition, standing in the sky for what has been. Saturn always gives us its more challenging aspects before it offers reward, because Saturn wants the hard work of your beliefs. And when Saturn is squaring Pisces, it is literally kind of squaring this idea that Jupiter rules this bigger thoughts, of what can be. I can connect with God and the angels, and they will bring me all the resources I need to live a material life that flows. And Saturn will say, no, that won't happen. You need to get down in the earth. You need to dig. You need to build. You need to work hard, and you need to suffer. And so all of this is coming up because as we move into the Aquarian age, when Pluto moves into Aquarius, we are very much on a human level going to understand that our thoughts are things that create experiences and bring people into our lives that present opportunities. And those opportunities are fated choices in many ways, because we can default to what has been, or we can step into the unknown of the future. And ultimately, that's what we're looking at here. When Jupiter goes direct in Gemini in In February, it's going to really pick up some speed, and it will then in June move into the House of Cancer, which will be your third house. And I think that this is going to give you an opportunity to, I'm sorry. Gemini is your second house. Yes, Cancer is your third house. Sorry, my mind went a little backwards for a second. I want to offer it this way because I think the things that you review, that you assess, that you, Taurus, oftentimes when an earth sign looks at possibilities, it looks at the earth plane and the obstacles within the earth plane. Jupiter's going to ask you to look into your heart. Jupiter's going to ask you to connect with God and the angels and to bet on things that you can't see. And through your Gemini intention and your thoughts, focused thought, we can start to bring those situations into your physical experience or those dynamics. Jupiter is technically in detriment in Gemini, because Jupiter lives up on the mountain, those lofty ideas. It's the monk, up in the temple. And now we've got to come down into the valley of the everyday human life where we have to work for, to put food on the table and to make sure the lights are on. So this is going to be a review of your personal history. It's going to be a review of your personal beliefs. It's going to be a review of the principles you stand on, your views of money, and the ability to expand that money. And as an intuitive, I have been shown that flow is your safest energy versus stockpiling money somewhere. Because when you stockpile it somewhere, you are at you're vulnerable to that apparatus where you've stockpiled your money. So I think it would be helpful for you at this moment to think, how do I want my flow to go? How do I use my skills, Gemini second house, and my mind to create a more substantial platform for my physical comfort and security? I think that's what's really going to be the focus. And as I said, we're going to feel when Saturn stations in December, and that square takes place all the way through till January to Jupiter, there is going to be a real challenge between the beliefs of government and the individual beliefs. So preparation. And when I say that, it's the preparation of connecting with God and the angels, connecting with your heavenly team to support you so that when you're standing in potential contrast to somebody else's belief system, or there could be many conversations about how government is run and how it should be and the possibilities. And those conversations could be landmine fields on some level. And so you're anchoring into the expansion of your beliefs, the opportunity for them to shift and to grow versus being a little bit Taurus. This is the way it is. Taurus and Capricorn both rule history. Therefore, Saturn rules a sense of history. And Saturn is a big player in Jupiter's retrograde. Okay. Oh, now I want to mention that we also have an aspect between Jupiter and Chiron. And Chiron is in Aries in your 12th house. This is going to be significant because this again plays back to an old pattern or imprint that you may even foster or nurture unconsciously. The 12th house is naturally the house of the invisible. And here this would be, an opportunity to, rather than to feel invisible, to step into the visibility of the soul within you. The 12th house may feel invisible to the human eye, but is not invisible to God's eye. And so as we look at Chiron being the wound that we agree to address in this lifetime, and in Chiron in Aries is a wound of the self, a wound of initiation, a wound of pioneering, a wound of anger potentially. And in the 12th house, it could be hidden anger for you. It could be old stories that sit underneath you that have you making decisions based on fear and lack versus expansion and growth. So this Saturn illuminating both the outside elements that restrict us, government, authority, etc., and then Saturn representing our fears, looking at Jupiter as addressing them by connecting with God and the angels, and then using Chiron's energy to transform the wound into a gift. It's never a release of the wound. It's an integration or a reconciliation. If I had never gone through that challenging experience, I don't know if I would be sitting in this viewpoint right now to open up to this bounty coming my direction. So that's pretty much lit up. So we're looking at your second house of literally possessions, money, communications, Taurus and Gemini layered on each other, is lit up during this Jupiter retrograde. And your 12th house of ancestral soul history, and where you may feel unseen, or you may feel invisible, or even because the 12th house is the house of self-undoing, where you have made a case for your lack or limitation because you can't see it right now. Earth sign wants to see it. And this will give you an opportunity, again, to connect to a deeper part of yourself, a bigger part of yourself that resides outside the physical experience and holds space for your inner knowing and your wisdom to come through the physical experience so that you could feel the exhilaration of manifestation and co-creation. All right, my Tauruses, that's it for me for Teri Hunter for the Jupiter retrograde. If you'd like to book a reading with me, I'm available. And please join me Sunday mornings for my live here on YouTube at 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's where we'll look at each week's transits and we go over them, and then we get the angels' advice for how to traverse those transits most effectively. Thank you so much. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and keep coming back. We're producing more and more content. See you soon, Taurus. Bye-bye.